Hello guys, welcome to another exciting edition of Sewing with Rachel. So today I'm going to show you how to properly thread the P-1250 Singer sewing machine and how to make a bobbin. I have one right here. So if you do not have this machine, things might be a little bit different on your machine. That is totally okay. Most machines have some sort of variation of this. I do have multiple machines, so I will probably be remaking this video with my other machines to give you a good idea of how this works. So the first thing you want to do is take your thread, and that goes here on the spool holder, and this goes right here. So your thread, if you see, it has this little thing right here. The nice thing about these machines is they have on them, you know, directions to kind of help guide you along. So if you see up here, let's adjust this for you. There. You get a good idea of what's going to be happening up here, right? So, let me get my thread. Okay, so this goes here, and this guy goes here. The first thing we're going to do is actually wind our bobbin. This is a class 66 bobbin. It is what the P-1250 uses. Depending on your machine, you should really check your owner's manual, because it will tell you the type of bobbin that is correct for your machine. You always want to use the correct bobbin. If you do not use the correct bobbin, you're going to have a lot of sewing issues, as in when you're sewing, it's going to have a hard time catching. Oftentimes it'll get tangled up in the bottom of the machine, and in some cases it might even break your machine. So make sure you are using the correct bobbin for your machine. So take our thread, and on this we kind of slide it underneath, and then it goes over that little thing right there. I know it's hard to see the thread. The next thing that's going to happen, is this little thing right here. See how it's round? I'm going to wind it in there once. So now it goes around that. And then we're going to bring it all the way over here, and we're going to wind it around this bobbin a couple times, just so it'll stay. Now this guy, we talked about him earlier. He actually has a button. Let me show it to you. You see right here? And you push that down. What that does is it actually turns off the foot, this foot. So while we're sewing, this part of the machine isn't going. So now we've changed everything. So this is all properly threaded. Everybody's ready to go. And now the only thing left to do is to wind it. For the sake of this video, normally this pedal foot is on the floor. I'm trying to get it all in view. For the sake of this video, I put it up here because it's hard for you to see otherwise. See what I'm doing? So as I press the pedal down, the bobbin winds. When I lift normally it would be my foot, but in this case I'm using my hand, but when you release pressure from the foot, it stops. And when you apply pressure, it goes. The more pressure, the faster. Okay. Lower. faster. And now my bobbin is full. A lot of times it'll clip when it's full, but I mean right here is far enough. So we're going to come back over here. That guy's been clicked back into place. I can now sew normally with him. We're going to come right up here. This like locks it in place and sets up the actual winding function. When I click it over here, it'll be easier to release the bobbin. When it's clicked right here, the bobbin actually gets kind of stuck in there, which is good. That's what keeps your bobbin from flying off. It makes it really hard to remove though. So you definitely want to click it back over. And then we cut this thread. Right? And now we have our bobbin, our second spool. Ooh, bear with me. So now we get to the fun part, which is threading the machine and getting ready to sew. So this portion, the thread to here, is going to remain the same. There you go. See that? So how the thread interacts with this piece is what's changing. Try to get closer for you. So this, instead of being winded around this top piece, is going to go through this piece. And then, see my little arrows? It's going to follow my arrows. Go around the tension disc. There's a tension disc in there, remember we talked about that yesterday. Go around the tension disc. I'm actually going to raise this metal piece right here so it's in the high position. And then it goes around that. Then it comes back down over here. You'll see this little windy goes around there. Goes through that. And then the last part, it goes through the needle. You can use a needle threader. I don't. I rarely use my, I have actually a nice one that I like a lot. I rarely use it for this, but you can if you need it. Alright, so now let's adjust this. The top portion, the large spool is threaded properly. Goes from here to here to here, down and around, up and around, around, through this to the needle, and then we get to put our bobbin in. This is our second spool. So you'll notice when you look at something that is sewn, there is a top thread and there is a bottom thread. We have threaded the top thread, and now this is the bottom thread. This is really easy. This is probably easier than threading the rest of the machine. So the first thing you want to do is make sure your bobbin is going counterclockwise. Counterclockwise is the opposite way a clock spins. So if you look at this, it's spinning in the opposite direction of a clock. Then you place it in your little case. And then you see right here, I'll try to get really close for you. You see these little divots here? The thread is going to go in there. See that? It is now properly inside the case. Now, the next step is we have to get the thread from here into this little hole right here. I don't know if you see that little hole right there? It has to come out and up and meet this guy. this top thread. Well, when I was young, I actually thought I had to try to like thread it through. You don't have to do that. You can just boom, pulled it through. See that? Close. You are now ready to sew. You do want to slide this, you see right here. This is hard to do one-handed. Kind of slide it through that little divot right there, and then push it so it's going behind the machine, not in front. And now we sew. There we go. And I have my pedal right here. I don't know if you can see it, but push our pedal down. Uh-oh, problem. So you see this? That means something is not threaded correctly. Something did not catch. So we have to do it again. I think, not the bobbin. Bobbin actually looks good. It's still spinning in the right direction. Which means it probably has something to do with this. Something didn't catch quite right. Usually when that happens, that means something in here, because you can't actually see it, didn't catch right. So we just thread it again. Start from the beginning. Go around. I actually think this is probably the culprit. He usually is. Go around again. And down through. There we go. Gotcha. Okay. We're all ready to go again? Let's give it another try. This is why it's really good to test. Sometimes things come undone. Ta-da! Perfect this time.